I wanted to see if I could germinate a seed in water beads, otherwise known as Orbeeze. So I got some lemon seeds and I tried to stick them right in there. But they just kept breaking open. I tried with 24 of these to be exact. At first, I cut a straight hole inside the Orbeeze, and then I realized that wasn't gonna work and the seeds just kept flying out. So then I tried cutting a circle-shaped hole instead, inside of each of the Orbeeze. But when the seeds just kept flying out and I finally found comfort in the fact that it wasn't gonna work this way, I figured, okay, I'll get a tiny lime basil seed because those are smaller in size, and I was surprised to see that it worked. The tiny seed was staying in the Orbeeze without flying out like Superman, and it was a much better idea than the bigger lemon seed was. I also got a lemon cucumber seed, just a different variety of the lemon seed, and somehow I managed to get it in there, and then it was time to put it under the time lapse and wait to see the results. I was so excited to see if it would work, but remember, plants are all trial and error. And I never grow anything without the error part of things. If you know me, then you know that there are a lot of fails. But anywho, as I reviewed the time lapse and kept checking on our seeds, I realized that that little kept escaping from the right-hand corner. And as excited as I was for the tinier seed to work, it became an escape master and made me realize that I was gonna have to find a different way to germinate these seeds if I wanted to do it with the Orbeeze. Plus, the Orbeeze just kept shrinking up because they were losing water mass as time went on. I tried adding water every few hours to the plate, but the seeds just weren't sturdy enough, so not only did the seed keep flying out, but the Orbeeze just got smaller and smaller as time went on, and at this point, I knew that I was gonna have to find a way to keep the Orbeeze from shrinking up as well. And y'all know I don't give up until we get results. Plus, we also had a little bit of a gnat problem. So I ordered jumbo Orbeeze and thought that maybe the seeds would have a better shot at sprouting with the bigger ones. I blew them up, and once they were plump, I got ready to add my seeds inside. But this time, I decided that instead of cutting a circle-shaped cut inside the tiny Orbeeze, I would cut a cake-shaped cut inside of the jumbo Orbeeze so that the seeds would actually stay and sit properly in there and the Orbeeze wouldn't rip in half like they were before. And might I say, thank you very much, Petite Poutine, because this was a fabulous idea. It really worked. The seeds sat right on top of it, and this time, I got little bottle caps to put the Orbeeze inside so they didn't shrink up and so that they had a place to sit upright in without sliding around. I kept adding water to those bottle caps.
Genius idea.
And this time, I truly had faith that everything was gonna work out as planned. I started rolling the time lapse and I added water religiously to those little bottle caps, and for a while there was no growth. But I really thought that in just a few days they would sprout, so I kept waiting and reviewing the time lapse and checking on those bottle caps. I was so excited this time because I was sure it was gonna work, and at this point in time, well, I continued to wait and days passed, and I was excited to see that the seeds actually stayed inside the Orbeeze this time, but it didn't work. Once day 10 passed and the seeds didn't sprout yet, I figured they were never going to. And I wasn't happy with those results because I really wanted to germinate seeds inside of Orbeeze. So at that point in time, I got an idea. I was about to travel for 9 days, and I knew I wouldn't be around to keep watering those bottle caps. Plus, I didn't see them sprout for so many days.
Oh, it was so satisfying.
And usually these seeds sprout in just a few days if they're on a damp piece of paper towel to not germinate, but germinate. So I knew that this time I was about to try something a little different. So I thought, let's get a bigger container, add some more bees in there, both the mini and the jumbo, blow them up, and just add the seeds inside the container instead of inside the Orbeeze. That way, the seeds would have moisture similar to them sitting in a damp piece of paper towel, and I was sure that this method would make them sprout even faster than any idea I've ever had before. It was perfect, and I was excited. Plus, if it worked, I knew exactly what to do when traveling to make sure the seeds didn't dry up after sprouting, and I thought maybe I could even add these Orbeeze into the soil, not forever because it's probably a few chemicals and whatnot, but just until I get home so that the moisture stays in the soil.
Anywho,
I planted some Essence sweet corn, King of the Garden lima beans, bolero peas, and some sunflower sprouting seeds, my favorite. And remember, I was about to travel for some days, and so I wouldn't be there to make sure the Orbizels stayed hydrated and plump. So I was just kind of hoping for the best, and I decided to add a little bit of extra water to the container just in case they shrunk up. And off I went to travel. But boy, was I excited to come home to see what would happen. And, well, this is what I came back to after traveling. Traveling was a mistake. Were those flies? Where did they come from? I did add probably way too much water so that the Orbizels didn't dry out while I was gone, which was also probably a mistake because they basically just drowned and kind of disintegrated and, well, molded over. Gross. And I thought I saw a little sprout in there, but it had no chance. And listen, I may have cried enough to fill up this entire container with water again. I'm gonna puke. But as disappointed that I was, I knew that there was a chance that something would go wrong since I wasn't able to be there with the Orbizels to make sure that the conditions were just right. And this time I really believed in this idea, and I had faith that it would really work. The other ones didn't work because the seeds kept drying up, they kept falling out, but this time, it was a perfect idea. Disgusting. And I didn't want to miss peak germination time before Canadian winter subsided and spring arrived. So, before I filled my bathtub with Orbeeze and ruined my entire neighborhood with Orbizels, I decided to try it one more time because I was able to watch them like a hawk this time and keep a really close eye on them. Oh no. And I promise, you're gonna be excited by these results.
Believe in me, okay?
This time, I covered the top of the container to seal it airtight, and you guys, finally, after almost 1 year of trying to successfully sprout seeds inside of Orbeeze, we did it. 5 days after blowing them up and placing 5 varieties of seeds inside, I finally woke up one of the days to tails. This time, I was watching them good, and covering the top really helped secure the air inside to help these seeds give birth. I was so excited that this finally worked that I got 9 more mini cups, filled them all with Orbeeze, blew the Orbizels up, and got to sprouting more seeds inside of the Orbeeze since I knew that this method finally worked. I got my seed binder and my seed bowl out, which by the way has more than 156 varieties of seeds that I get from an organic Canadian farmer. So you know we're gonna have to, well, it's a good start. But I chose a few, some loofah, which I was so excited to grow, birds of paradise, green peppers, cucumber, banana peppers, soybean, carrots, radishes, watermelons, cucumbers, pumpkin. I labeled all the cups, placed all my seeds inside, and basically in this moment, I became the queen of germination because it was so successful and I was jumping for joy. I immediately ran outside and got new respective homes for the seeds to move into and live until they were ready to plant into their final homes and give me the fruits of their labor for good. I got to work helping secure the move, and this year I was excited because last year I planted my seeds way too late. It was around June and I barely got anything to fruit, and if I did get them to fruit, the squirrels and the raccoons just came and ate them all. But this year it was around March or April when I did this, so I was really excited to actually have the plants in time for around June or July. But finally, some time passed because, as you well know, now it's August, and the good news is we have a zucchini, a baby watermelon, a cucumber, a loofah, pumpkin, and carrots all growing really nicely, which by the way with the loofah I'm gonna try to make my own bathroom loofahs to use in the shower. But guys, the bad news is that our cucumber did not survive, which I'm very upset about. The raccoons came and ate my green peppers. The squirrels ate my banana peppers, and it's been really hard to garden on my tiny balcony outside of my apartment. So listen, there's ups, there's downs, there's good news and bad news, but there's always gonna be more to this story. And if you're trying this at home, just make sure to know that water beads can be toxic, a choking hazard to small animals and children, and can cause a diminished sensation in fingers when handled, so use with caution. Better to grow the seeds in them instead of using them to play with, especially if you have kids. But honestly guys, the moral of the story is that after a lot of trial and it works to sprout seeds in Orbeeze, and you better go try it and start your garden right now and update me along the way.
Oh, so satisfying. I'm gonna puke. Disgusting. Oh no.